Hello, everyone. This is Ashley Pitzer with Practicing Life Podcast. And today I have Jessica Morse with me. And I'm so excited to have her here on my show because, as you know, I absolutely love heartfelt leaders. And part of my mission is to help lift up as many people as possible and to help them shine, you included. And Jessica is somebody really special. She came into my life less than a year ago. We were in a hypnosis program together. And Jessica really stood out to me, not only her energy, but she has this beautiful, nurturing energy. And one of the things I absolutely love about her is that she is always there to cheer you on. Your successes are her successes. And so she's never in this place of envious or, she's never taking it as like, why am I not there? And that is a sign of a true leader. That is somebody who believes in you. And those are the type of people that I have on my podcast because they're special and they're unique. And I want that for all of you. And when you listen to Jessica's story, you are going to be so blown away with her and love her just as much as I do. But I'm going to read her bio. So let's get to that. Jessica is a passion. Well, here we go. Let me start over. Jessica is passionate about supporting women on their path to achieving long-lasting weight release through hypnosis. Jessica has dedicated over 20 years to the field of healthcare. As an occupational therapist, she specializes in rehabilitating patients with neurological conditions, and in this capacity, she has witnessed the miraculous neuroplasticity recoveries with them. There have been countless laughs and tears shared over the years. She values each and every one of them. When Jessica identified a need for greater understanding and more meaningful care for people with dementia, she became a dementia care specialist trainer. The privilege and responsibility of teaching clinicians and caregivers the best ways to promote the quality of life and function of patients with dementia was extremely rewarding. But Jessica still felt an important component was missing. Western medicine has disproportionated and reactionary approach that Jessica is determined to counterbalance, looking forward to health promotion and disease prevention. Jessica had already experienced rapid changes in her life using hypnosis, and in turn became a certified hypnotherapist through the acclaimed National Guild of Hypnosis. Out of a deep commitment to becoming even more effective in creating transformation, she also became a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, an NLP, and a certified life coach. With all of this experience and with a truly compassionate heart, Jessica liberates women from diet programs and the burdens of carrying extra weight so we can all enjoy being healthy and feeling great together. So welcome, Jessica. I'm so happy to have you on my podcast. And I just on a couple of things I will touch base with this because I am also a life coach and an NLP practitioner. And then we did hypnosis together. And I love the commonality between all of us because even though we can have these crossovers, we're also unique in what we bring because each one of us is unique. And I love your gifts. And speaking of dementia, which I knew you did that, but I have a special needs child who has a rare genetic diagnosis, and she has hundreds of seizures a day. And these seizures cause her to forget things and not to be able to recall or to have regression or to pause or to repeat. And so I often tell people that my child is very much like living with somebody who has dementia. The repeating of the stories, the loss of ability to do things, the forgetting where they are, the pausing. So yeah, just another little thing that brings us together because I can relate, even though my child is not, plus ages, I understand the caregiving aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing that you bring that up because I also have a son who has special needs. And when I was going through the dementia care, a lot of the techniques and tools that we use to help understand and really create this good quality of life for folks that are experiencing dementia is to just understand what their abilities are and to use their strengths to for their to improve their quality of life, and really looking at it from what are their abilities. And so I love that, we can look at dementia, people that have dementia, and have this understanding and compassion for them. And if we can apply that compassion, that we there are kids with different abilities and they might not be functioning at the same level as their age counterparts, but
Mhm.
they still have abilities that we can work with. And we if we just understand where they can benefit from a little bit of support and just understand that they have unique needs that may be different, then we can support them to be better. And so I definitely found that to be true with my son too. It was very helpful for me to understand and to help explain to other people that, even though he looks like this healthy, vibrant age that he is, doesn't necessarily mean that his cognitive level or the way that his brain works is the same as other kids that are at that same age. And so, yeah, I think that there's just needs to be compassion for those folks, those kids, the people that have dementia, that are experiencing difficulty because of that.
Well, I want to circle this to your story eventually, but let me just, while we're talking about the subject, do you, right now, one of the things that you're working on is helping women lose weight. Do you
Yes.
find that there's a crossover at all between like the tools that you learned with dementia to like this whole aspect of working with women? Because you know how
Ye-
one thing always strengthens
Yeah.
another?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that my journey to where I am now has been added to by my experience as an occupational therapist, and certainly in dementia care, because I do think that when you're working with patients that have been experienced a trauma, right? So in occupational therapy, I help people with meaningful activities to be able to function better. So, whatever those meaningful activities are for them, which tend to be the things that maybe we take for granted in our life, like getting dressed and showering and cooking and cleaning and interacting with doing things we love with our kids. And so, when you experience a loss of that, of your health, it's scary. And I think that a lot of times the recovery process was really dependent on people's belief that it was possible for them. And so as a hypnotherapist and as an occupational therapist and as a dementia care specialist, a lot of the role of the therapist is to instill this hope and love and compassion for people on the journey, and just let them know that there is a possibility for improvement in their life. And so, yeah, in that way there's a lot of crossover between weight release and dementia care.
Yeah, and I was even thinking while you were talking just about the fact that like, even as an active, middle-aged woman or whatever, we don't maybe experience dementia the same way as like a parent, but we definitely experience dementia on like remembering the good things about what you have with your body and your health. It's like it becomes like in the void and you forget about it. It gets pushed in the back and all you can do is focus on like, I haven't lost the weight. I've done X, Y, and Z. And you just forget about so many beautiful things about yourself. And I think that's really interesting too. Because it's
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off there.
no.
Yeah, I agree. I think that our body is there for us and capable of so much, and it stretches when we require it to do so, and it heals when we, go through an injury. And I think that the struggle for many of us women, and I've experienced this, is just, having tried so many diets and them not being successful, and then feeling like I'm such a failure. And then all the shame that comes along with that, like I couldn't do it again. And so, yeah, I think that if we can shift the focus into away from that negativity and that dark place and the hopelessness into a place of appreciation and gratitude for our body and joy and love too, it really makes the journey so much better. And it truly is possible to get to that place where you want to be with your weight and your health. But, just having that belief is so critical.
It really is. So let's hear about your story. I love
Okay.
to hear your
Yeah.
story.
Well, thank you for the intro too. That was so heartwarming, Ashley. I was getting the warm fuzzies.
Right. Well, it's all true. So, all right. So, prior to becoming an occupational therapist, what brought you into that?
Yeah, so my perspective on health and wellness and life and death really was impacted because when I was 15 years old, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was only 34 at the time. So I was 14 or 15. And, at that age, you don't expect anything like that ever to happen to your mother, especially when they're so young themselves. And so I watched my mother fight a 9-year battle against breast cancer. And I was the second of her 4 children. My youngest brother, who's the baby, was 10 years younger than me at the time. So he was 4 or 5. And when she was diagnosed. And so, watching her go through the Western medicine health system and the standard treatment, and she did a lot of experimental treatments as well, because she was just going to try to do everything she could to stay alive. It was hard, and it shaped my childhood, and it shaped my views around how precious this time is and our relationships with other people. And there's always these really beautiful lessons that we get even out of the darkest things. And so one of the most beautiful things that I got from experiencing this with my mom and leading to her ultimate death is just that our relationships with people are so precious, and to really embrace and love people and just experience that love, and it just makes life so much better, and we can connect so authentically with other people. And so, yeah, I'm so grateful to her for that, and that shaped my journey towards helping people in rehabilitation, going through these very difficult times in their lives where they've been in an accident or had a heart attack or a stroke, or, you know, being with them and through these journeys and seeing them be able to get to a place where they recovered. And, it was so rewarding, and it was so amazing. And so my experience with my mom definitely led me into healthcare, and I always had a passion for health in general, and it wasn't truly met as an occupational therapist because that was so reactionary. It was always waiting to help people after they had gone through this really difficult experience. And there's so much that we can do to prevent these diseases from happening in the first place. There was so much prevention that could have been happened with my mom that didn't. And so, and a lot of my life has been focused on preventing it myself from getting it, because I was terrified. I was terrified of getting it. I was so afraid of my kids going through what I went through. My siblings, I was so worried that, if anything ever happened to me, that they would have to go through more hurt with it. And so it's just quite an evolution of how I got to where I am today. And yeah, and I truly am passionate and believe and know for sure that we can do so much to support our health and to not fall victim to the diseases of our ancestors and our family.
Yeah, so I guess like one of the things I actually had a question on, because when I was reading your bio, you didn't mention very much about cancer, but I know, following you on social media and things like this, you're always posting, you're always encouraging people like, hey, these are some foods that help combat, these have the antioxidants in them. Like, and so you do a lot of education towards the general population on ways to prevent cancer, but you're not necessarily working directly with people, or
No, I think what I learned going on this journey to prevent it myself, cancer, is that I learned that when you're preventing cancer, you're preventing like every disease pretty much. You're preventing diabetes and heart disease and a lot of neurological conditions. You're reducing your risk for dementia. And so as you're eating healthfully to prevent cancer, you're also eating healthfully to prevent all these other things. And it's not just about eating, right? It's about our spiritual wellness, our physical health, things like that, and the support that we have through our peers and loved ones. And so much of that goes into health. So for me, cancer was the thing that really made me, I guess, passionate, made me scared me scared me into it. There's so many things. And so yeah, I definitely have a great awareness around cancer. There's a special place in my heart for people that also experience and have lost like I have. And it's not limited to just that. The number one cause of death in women is actually heart disease. And so
yeah.
cancer is a big thing that affects women. And there's a bigger fear out there. And having practiced in occupational therapy, as much as cancer seems like the worst beast out there, it really isn't. There are other things out there. And so yeah, so cancer was what my experience was and what propelled me into this journey. But it doesn't matter what you may be concerned about getting. There's so many ways to prevent all diseases and to just truly live our best lives right now, having good health.
Yeah, and I know you shared your story about your mom, and I would say that my mom, when I was probably 5 or 6, she was also diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And so
Mm-hmm.
she had most of her thyroid removed. But it's see, like this is where it's really interesting, right? Because your mother had like a 9-year battle with it, whereas mine, like they removed it, and that eliminated most of the problems. Now she's had 4 cancers in her life. But
Wow.
when we talk about hypnosis, I'm gonna educate my listeners here, right? When we talk about hypnosis, we're often dealing with the subconscious. Well, we are dealing, it's not that we often are. We are dealing with the subconscious, and a lot of the subconscious comes from your early childhood memories. And so in my early childhood memory, I mean, I witnessed my mom have an operation and have this cancer and heal and survive. And I just have this whole mentality of like, cancer's got nothing on me, like it's got nothing on my mom. My mom survived it 4 times, 4 different cancers, and like I just have this different atmosphere about it because of what I was exposed to as a child, but you were exposed to something completely different. But notice, now because of the role that you had at that time with your mom being in cancer, you like have that identity of being that caregiver and filling that role. Like you already, like you were trained, you were brought up in this way, but this works for you. And this is what's so beautiful about hypnosis, is because there are certain things that happen in your childhood that you want to keep. And there's certain things that you need to release to grow and to expand and to really enjoy your life. And that is the beauty of working with somebody that's like Jessica, like me, that's a life coach that can help you identify what you want to keep, identify what you want to let go of, and really strengthen. Now you identify and you seem happy with your role, like that's my perspective. So you can definitely speak, for
Can you
yourself.
clarify that? My role or my experiences with cancer, or
Well, just like the fact that like, like, for instance, like the role that you're playing now is very similar. It's like this is just my perspective, right?
Yeah.
So like how you have helped your mom in that supportive role, it's almost like you're now carrying on, and this is your career, this is your life, right? You are now carrying on that nurturing, compassionate place because that was something that took place in your early childhood, and it created a purpose for you, and you seem to agree with that, and now you're going on and helping other people, and in this case, like, you're helping them expand and grow and overcome their limitations and their obstacles. And
Right. Yeah. No, I am absolutely grateful for my experiences. And I think that we go through life and we have these experiences that give us lessons. And
Mhm.
yeah, I am certainly at a place where I can see and have gratitude for the lessons that I have. Of course, I wish my mom was around, and I still, struggle with the sadness around that. But yeah, I think so much of our ability to get these lessons too is around healing. And so that's what I love about hypnotherapy, is that we can have this healing that happens through this process. And I think that that's what we long for, to not be hurting anymore. And so that's my goal, is to help women to not feel hurt, to not feel ashamed of, carrying the extra weight, not being held back because they don't want to be in a swimsuit, and so they miss an opportunity, or to be, and I think that, I love women because I'm so amazed by our ability to love and have compassion and just to manage what seems like a superhuman abilities. Like, how I don't know how we do even what we do, but we do so much for our families and for our kids and for other people. And while managing, I feel like, most of the household, most of the time, the schedules and everything, and our work on top of that. And so I think that what breaks my heart is that we give so much to other people, and yet when it comes to ourselves, we don't turn that inward, and we don't have that same ability to give this, like, seemingly endless love to ourselves. And so it's really important to me to let other women experience that love, and to know that they're important, and that they are deserving of it, and that it is possible for them, and that in order they can enjoy life and feel hope, and enjoy their sexy little bodies, and just reach this place of health that they maybe have longed for, that they are worthy of it and worth it and deserving, and it's absolutely possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I see it too, and what I work with as well. So like, as far as this is one of the reasons that you probably offer your 9-week program, I'm assuming, because you're helping all of these women go through the transition. So where do you see most people come in at, and tell us about this program?
Yeah, so I offer a 9-week program. It's called Thriving Health, and it's to release weight and to get to a place where you feel healthy about yourself. And the biggest difference between this program versus other diet programs is it really works on our identity as a healthy person. And if we don't have that identity and that belief that we can do it, then it's very unlikely that we will be able to do it. And so it's getting to this identity of somebody that's healthy. And along with that, it's a lot of letting go of these old identities that we have, that we often need healing around too. And so through Thriving Health, I really try to have it be a positive journey. It's not about deprivation. It is about making this a lifestyle, because you are a healthy person. And as a healthy person, you can still enjoy the foods that you love. It might not be in the same quantities that limitless, whatever I want, whenever I want, but it is absolutely possible to really love and cherish and enjoy food, I'm a big foodie, so I love food, and I think that it's really important to be able to enjoy it, and also find joy in foods that really nourish our physical body as well, and our mind, not just our soul. So the focus of the 9-week Thriving Health journey is utilizing hypnosis to create this new identity around who you are as a healthy person, and really do it in a supportive group of women where there's love and compassion, and just that encouragement that I feel like women are able to impart, and to create this journey in the most positive, beautiful way, which is very different than traditional diets. And so, and working a lot around that belief that it really is possible, because I think so many of us just don't believe it's possible, and then we don't get there.
Yeah, and you've already expressed this probably before we started recording, and I know I've done this and I've helped other people with this, but there is this whole commonality that we've tried every diet out there. Like with me being a personal trainer, so many people will come to me, I want to try the keto diet. I've tried the keto diet. I've tried the Atkins diet. I've done this, I've done that. And they constantly come back to the same place. They come back to the same place because that's the identity. And I
Yeah.
love that you're working on that, because that's one of my number one goals when I work with people is I work with them on their identity, because you go back to your identity. So it
Mhm.
really has to start there. And why don't you give me, I know we went to the same school, so we'll probably have very similar definitions, but tell me your definition of hypnosis and why it works.
Okay. I don't think we actually were trained in the same place, both through the National Guild of Hypnosis, but I was trained through a different program than you, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My definition of hypnosis is that it's really a brainwave state, a theta wave state, where we which allows the conscious mind to, which is the mind where we're conscious, we're aware of, to be put to sleep, so to speak, so that we can work with the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is, of course, where like the power is, because 95%, even some studies show that it's like 98% of our brain function is from our subconscious mind, which is our beliefs about ourselves, and that those beliefs are habits. Our thoughts are habits, which create our beliefs, which create our identity. And so hypnosis is really just a relaxed state of where we are in theta right before we go to sleep, and we are in that hypnotic state many times through the day, as our brain is just working through our habits, right? We might be driving somewhere, and we don't consciously remember actually doing the driving. We just arrive, and that is a hypnotic state. When you're making your coffee in the morning, and then it's done, that's a hypnotic state. As we're brushing our teeth, a lot of times that can be that hypnotic state too, where our subconscious mind just takes over, something that we've done so many times that our conscious brain isn't needing to be alert.
Yeah, exactly. I try to tell everyone too, this is a very natural state. And one of the things that I often preach is like, because so many people are scared of hypnosis as if they're going to lose control, which isn't even possible because people's wills are so strong. So, but anyway, I often tell people like, hey, your ancestors had surgery under hypnosis in like the 1800s because they wanted to survive and live. And without it, they only had like a 5% chance of survival. And so, in order to be in the higher percentage of survival and to make a surgery to keep their life, or, to fix an illness, they went through hypnosis. Like, it is something that we have done for hundreds of years that is safe and effective. And, and it's the
Yeah,
fastest and
it
easiest
is.
way.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear about the early practitioners of hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming too. And yeah, what was possible at that time. It is amazing. And yeah, I think the other thing from my with thinking about the past and how powerful hypnosis is also practicing occupational therapy for over 20 years, I really realized how powerful our beliefs are. And so if somebody believed that they would improve, they would. And if somebody believed that they wouldn't, they wouldn't. And so you would see somebody get better from a very strong neurological condition like a stroke that paralyzed half of their body. And then somebody who went through like a knee replacement that should be totally fine, it's like game over for them. And so it really is so amazing how powerful our brains are and how our beliefs about ourselves can impact our outcomes.
Yes, we are so powerful. We just like to mention we don't remember it. We don't focus on that. And so I absolutely love the reminder just that our thoughts create. I mean, that's as simple as it is. Our thoughts create, and they do come from those identities and those values. So just to really quickly on this program, do you do the group hypnosis? Do you send them out audios so that they
Oh,
can
I'm
do it
so happy you asked.
privately?
Yeah. So I have 7 hypnosis audios in my program, and uh, 3 of them are for weight loss, weight release. So specifically, they target different things. So one is very heavily into nutrition. The other ones are like to not eat as much in a meal, and then a global one. And so I have different styles and different techniques in these hypnosis audios depending on what's going to impact my clients the best. I have a sleep hypnosis because sleep is something that most of my one-on-one clients come to me for because they have sleep disturbances that really impact their daily function. So I have a 2 sleep ones, hypnosis audios, and I have a self-love one because our love for ourselves is really at the heart of the journey. And then I have one called the Eliminator, which is very effective in removing things from our diet if we want them to be, if we have a hard time like moderating it. And then during the program, as things come up, like I mentioned before, I know in my own journey and in the journey of my clients that healing is so important. It's hard for us to move forward if we don't have healing around things from the past. And so in my program, I do additional hypnosis around that healing and that letting go, and then offer those into the library as well. So I do have group live sessions, but our 9-week program is where you listen to the hypnosis audios daily, and then weekly we will go over a specific topic for the week and really provide a lot of understanding and clarity around these different topics that can really impact our health and our ability to release weight.
Wonderful. When is your next one coming up?
January 17th is my next one, and I do have a free workshop on January 10th that folks can sign up for and learn more about the program, and that really kicks it off with a plan for success. So just creating a beautiful plan for yourself that works into your lifestyle for releasing weight. And there is a hypnosis included in that one as well, in that workshop.
I love hypnosis.
I love it too. Yeah, I think that you and I have both experienced so many benefits in our own life from it. And yeah, so I really love it. I'm really amazed by how powerful it is. And I think that weight release is not fast, but the fastest way to release weight is through hypnosis in a healthy way.
Yeah, I would tell, my audience, my listeners, that prior to knowing hypnosis, prior to knowing what it was and how it worked, I was successful, but I was successful by driving myself into the ground. My strong will, I willed everything. And I mean, I talk about this a lot. Like I talk about how I was experiencing burnout and so tired all the time. And then I got an autoimmune disease, and then I was combating that. And I was still using my willpower to say, like, no, I'm gonna muscle through this. And so like I operated from this way for so long. And then bless be, hypnosis came into my life. And it was like, oh, all I got to do is step back and relax and listen to this. And then I keep listening to it. And then all of a sudden I'm making these changes without even being aware of it. I'm like, this is so easy. This is so
Yeah.
easy.
I-
I will tell you, since we're talking about weight, I actually want to do a video on this. This is one of my intentions to do. But with having an autoimmune disorder, I followed a very, very strict autoimmune diet, very strict people. And I followed it for years. And the reason I was able to follow it is because the pain was so much, and I was struggling with my energy. It was so hard for me to even get out of bed. So there was motivation to eat a certain way so that I could function, right? But even having that will and that discipline, I can tell you that there's a difference between me cutting out certain foods that didn't have to be cut out, but I just chose to anyway, and using hypnosis to cut out something. So, like for instance, we're talking about how our brain works, right? When my child had one of her very first seizures, she was just a baby. She stopped breathing. We had to go to the hospital, right? And I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks as they tried to kind of revive her. And it
That
was a
is
very,
sounds terrifying.
it is terrifying. It was a very emotional time. And somebody came over with a care package with a bunch of Oreos. All right.
Oh.
And all of a sudden it formed like this addiction. I didn't care about Oreos before that date, but because I was experiencing high emotions that were negative and I introduced this food, it became like almost like a comfort. It became a
Yeah.
comfort item for me. And so cutting out Oreos, even though I didn't even freaking like them, all of
Yeah.
a sudden, if I was having a really bad day going forward, Oreos became like a thing for me. I was like, I just need to get a pack of Oreos, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Using hypnosis to cut out Oreos, haven't touched them since. My kids have them. I have them in my house right now. I can look at them and be like, ugh, no thanks. Not at
Yeah.
all. The
Yeah.
difference of that versus like some of the foods that I have cut out because of my willpower, I'm still fighting that habit voice. You want that? That's so good. That tastes so great. Next to it is Oreos. And I could be like, don't give a shit. Oh, sorry, Paralia. I
Yeah.
cuss in mine. Like, don't even care. You don't have my attention. And so, like that's the power of hypnosis. That's the power, how it can just change it and make it so much easy and just take away that habit voice and take away that struggle and take away using all your energy to fight this.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, willpower is limited. So that is really tough. But yeah, I think that there's so much ritual in our food, right? And around the holidays, we really see this, that there's comfort and the food it's not just about the flavor of the food. It's about all the feelings that it brings up in us and the comfort and the love. And so I think that it's really important to find out to honor those rituals, right? Because we can still have rituals around food and enjoy it. And how can we do it in a way that we are being nourished in our mind and our soul and also our body? And a lot of times people have that same experience, right? Where this Oreo it meant more than just it's not just an Oreo, right? It's this somebody reaching out to you and extending you compassion and support,
Yeah.
love, yeah, and hope. And so how can we create that and not experience that just in relation to Oreos, but outside of that? And so, yeah, I think it really is so powerful to understand how our brain works. And I love that in hypnosis, we can create that love and that comfort in other ways because we need that, we need that. And that's why our brains cling to that, and food gives us that great dopamine hit that really
Oh,
makes
yeah.
us feel good. And we can also receive that in other ways and strengthen that experience through hypnosis. So I love it. And I love that we have these rituals around food. And I think it's wonderful that we can keep those rituals and have them mean so much to us, and also honor our health too.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was going through my hypnosis training, I actually have gone through two because I'm certified in two different places.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you. The first one I went through, they talked about how even though weight loss is like a go-to for a lot of hypnosis people, that the hypnotist often doesn't find that it is as successful, that it actually, even though it's like, hey, weight loss is a great thing for you to work with clients on, the actual hypnotist finds it to be very challenging because food is so integrated into our life and it has so many meanings, and you can't just eliminate food. It's just not even possible.
Right. Yeah, it's not like other
So
addictions.
it's not like other addictions. And so, our trainer was like, very much like, really consider if you want to do this, because this is actually one of the hardest things to help people with.
Mhm.
And so I find it really interesting. And I mean, I do help people with this. This isn't my go-to. It was in my past, obviously, with personal training and stuff like this, but it takes a deeper understanding sometimes to be able to work with people on their weight. And I love what you're creating. And um, I love that there's so much support around it and permission around it,
Mhm.
permission to continue being who you are and enjoying your foods, and not take it to that extreme that our society seems to do to us. Like, you have to cut out all carbs. That's so extreme.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and it's so
Mhm.
damaging. So anyway, let me go back and ask you, what is your biggest life lesson that you've learned?
Well, that's a big one, Ashley.
I
Goodness.
know, I know. It's the
Well,
life
how much
lesson
time
that
do
you
we
keep
have left?
having to learn. I know.
My biggest life lesson truly is that a a lot of us experience fear, right? It's the thing that holds us back from living our dreams, from taking chances on ourselves, and yeah, from not, because we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to feel shame. There's all these reasons why we avoid things that are fearful, to keep us safe. And so I think the biggest lesson that I have learned is that when I'm experiencing fear, I view it as feedback. It really is just feedback for me, and it's proof that I'm stepping into this growth mode. It might be feedback that I'm going into a direction that might not be aligned for me. It's all it is feedback. And so when I go through these moments of fear, which we all have fear, and it has a very protective biological reason for being there. And so when I'm going through that fear, I just totally let myself know that it is completely normal that I'm going through this, and then I explore it a little bit more to find out what's behind it. What am I specifically afraid of, and is there validity in that, or is this just it's just our body saying, are you wanting to go in this direction? Like, this is a change. Is this the way that you want to go? And so I can communicate with my body. Yes, I do want to go this way. This is me growing and stepping into this higher self, or just this passion or dream, or you know this trying something that is important to me. And so I think that my biggest lesson in life is that I look at fear as just feedback, and just honor it as a natural part of my body, and know that it doesn't mean I need to stop. It's just there to protect me, and I can learn from it, and I can continue. I can move on.
Yeah, I mean, I love the self-coaching that you have there. And I love the fact that you, in a way, even though you're talking about fear being a data, but you're also talking about it as um, a stopping point to make a choice.
Mhm.
And I like that too. because you're not, what's the word? I want to say deliberating, but that's the wrong word. You're not allowing fear to stop you, but you're allowing fear to be your pause button and, double check in with your heart. And does this align with you? So I love
Mhm.
that. So like,
Okay.
what fear did you have to overcome to like start this
Oh
program?
my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me about it, honey. I love these stories.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fear was huge for me. And I originally created a separate business for physical and occupational therapists to have a resource library, because we encounter so many different diagnoses. And as you said before that, like, people don't just have one thing, right? It's like they have this thing that
Mhm.
impacts this other thing, and so you are oftentimes dealing with multiple medical issues. And so, yeah, so I created this resource library to help therapists, and I had to move through a lot of fear with that. And I got to the point where I launched it and ran through that, and then I realized I wasn't aligned with it. And then so more fear came up as I started to work with this business. And yeah, it's fear for me. The fear that comes up the most is just fear of not being good enough. And so I think that I had to experience some healing around that. I used hypnosis on myself, so I'm very good at at helping entrepreneurs work through fear, because I had to work through my own fears to
Mhm.
get to this point. And so, yeah, there's this fear of putting yourself out there and having people criticize you, or not agree with you, or put you down. And a lot of the times it's our own. It's just we make up these fears in our head, and they're so much worse than what really happens in life. So so overcoming the fear was really big for me, and just, you know getting to this place where I felt good enough that you don't need to have all these certifications to go do what you want to do. You might have life experience that is so much more valuable than getting that next certification. So I think that people just want to know that you're able to get them results. It's really nice if you have these credentials, and I'm not minimizing getting, degrees when you need them in school to practice in a field, or to have personal growth, to get additional education around it. But I also think that experience and our life lessons gives us so much credibility and knowledge to move forward with what we want. And so there becomes a point where you just have to do it. You just have to step out, and you just have to do it. And what helped for me was to realize that fear is just feedback, is to go through each process and realize each step of the business, just one step at a time, and just knowing that when things came up that were challenging, I was always able to overcome them. And so that built confidence, because there was nothing that I couldn't overcome. And the biggest thing I had to overcome was my fear. And so with each experience, just knowing I was still alive, I was still okay, and I was still working towards my dream, it allowed me to have that fear become less and less, and to take bigger steps forward and bigger chances.
Yeah, you were basically your support system by looking back and finding the evidence and encouraging yourself. Because one of the things that I see that happens when people get into this stage of fear, and fear starting to hold them back, if they turn to somebody else that maybe doesn't share the same vision with them or has their own fear, you get into that self-sabotaging because the people that you turn to may not support you in the way that you need to be supported. So I really love, that you really just talked about yourself and turning to your own past history and finding the evidence and doing your hypnosis.
Yeah. And I
And
think it's part of, our training in hypnosis and also neurolinguistic programming, is
oh
that
yeah.
we each have our own paradigms and our own background
Right,
and our
right.
beliefs. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it might not be the same from other people. And as hypnotherapists, we're able to listen to what that meaning is around for that person and really customize the hypnosis for their experience to be very effective for them. And so, and that's what I love about it, is that learning about, yeah, different people's lives. I just love that. I love hearing different people's stories and then getting to a place of creating something that will truly benefit them. It's so cool.
It is really rewarding. And it is so fun to see your clients really take off and shine,
Mhm.
and to get to witness that is really a blessing. So, we kind of talked about this already, but one of the questions I had posed to you is like, what difference do you want to make in the world? And
Mhm.
so, I mean, one of the things I definitely heard you say is like helping people to have healing around hurt.
Yeah, yeah. I think that yeah, that we long for healing. And I know that I've been in this healing industry for so long. So my perspective is influenced by that. But yeah, I think that we have so much hurt from our past, and those things that make us not feel good enough or worthy enough or love ourselves or whatever it is, and I know that we don't need to live with that. And that's a heavy burden to carry.
Really?
And and we don't have to carry it. And like I said, I have this special like place in my heart for women. I truly want to make a difference in their lives, to love themselves, to feel worthy, and to experience the health and everything that comes with it, right? The improved energy and mood and intimacy in with their with their partners, or with even with their friends, just really coming to a place where they feel so good about themselves and love themselves and can just enjoy their lives without that hurt.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that is why I have you on this podcast,
Oh,
and to encourage other people to come check you out on January 10th when you are doing your free workshop with your free
thank
goodies
you.
on your hypnosis. I mean, that in itself is worth it. So what takeaway would you want to give people, or do you feel like you've covered it all?
I think the biggest thing is that, hypnosis really works, and that you don't have to be in pain and struggle. And there is hope, and it absolutely is possible for you to release weight, to heal, and to move through your fears. And so I just hope that if you are somebody that's struggling with your weight and you're a woman, that you will come check out, my Thriving Health program, and join and experience the power of hypnosis and love.
Yeah. Being with a community of people that are all striving for the same goal is so
Mhm.
encouraging and so inspiring. I do love that. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on to the show, and to have you here and to hear your story. And I know all of my listeners can hear your compassion and your love, because it's just who you are. So
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an honor, and been a little therapeutic too. So thank you for that.
oh, you're welcome. So I will have in the show notes her link so that you guys can follow her, find her thriving weight loss.
It's so my website is thrivingwithjessica.com,
Okay,
and
very
my health program is Thriving Health. And I
thriving.
do offer one-on-one hypnosis sessions too. And yeah, and I have a hypnosis audio. So if you're somebody that wants to work quietly on your own on weight release, all of the hypnosis audios that I offer in the program are in my hypnosis library and can be purchased independently as well.
That's wonderful. That's such a gift. All
Mhm.
right, check out the show notes, check out her Thriving Health. We'll see you guys on January 10th. And I just want to remind everybody that you matter, and I will see you next week.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.